Hi, Mike Rizzuto here again from Mastermind Incorporated. Welcome back to our Mastermindinc.net YouTube channel, where the 57 through 60 Cadillacs are the star of the show. Today we're going to talk about the the Eldorado Brougham trunk upholstery set. As you probably know, the Brougham has the most complicated trunk upholstery ever devised by mankind. I guess they figured, why should the trunk upholstery be any different than the rest of the car? So we will talk about why this is so difficult, and well, we can do just a brief look at the tire cover. We'll show you that I could do a trunk upholstery on 5 normal cars in the time it takes just to make this. So you can see how complex this piece is. I mean, this is incredibly time consuming, and I'll put it on the tire for you, because this was fitted. We make these to fit the 840. This is an original 840-15 spare tire that I took out of one of my low mileage cars, and it's on a restored wheel. And this thing has to fit. This tire has an odd shape to it, and this tire cover is designed to fit this tire. Okay. And so if you don't have one of these tires around, you're going to have a hell of a time fitting the tire cover to it. But in any case, and of course the cardboard looks perfect on the back side, which was intentional, because when you take the tire cover off you can see it, and you'll notice those pieces are perfectly round, and this horseshoe piece, even looking at it from the back side, looks perfectly symmetrical, and that's because it was done in die stamp process. We didn't try to hand cut these things, because this is a hopeless nightmare trying to hand cut this stuff, because I mean, this is what we wound up with. I mean, trying to make these patterns, we worked with all this decades old garbage, and this is what typically comes out of the car, and it's like a bunch of it's just decrepit. I mean, you just get a good gust of wind, and it's not much left to it, So it took us decades of collecting parts from cars that I collected over the years to make all the patterns and stuff. But you can't even tell what this stuff's supposed to look like. And this is out of a car that was a pretty decent original California car. Some of them look a little better than this, but the great majority of them look like this. I would say more look like this than look better than this. So, anyhow, you can see the complexity of a part like that to try to make it by hand. I mean, if you look at this piece, these pieces are designed to go around the trunk hinges. I mean, look, if you try to do this with I tried this, that's why I know. I mean, that's what started this whole project. I did try to do what most upholstery shop guys do. They just get a hunk of upholstery cardboard and a straight edge and a razor blade and a pair of scissors, and they try to make this stuff. It's a hopeless nightmare. You can't do it. I mean, you can do it, but it's going to look hokey. But, so if you want this to fit right, I mean, you can see how all this stuff folds perfectly like this. This is the left side hinge area, and this has to fold this way, and this has to fold this way, then this has to fold down like this. I mean, there's just no way in God's green earth you can make this happen with a pair of scissors and a razor knife. So what we did is we built all the dies, and we die stamped every piece of this just like the way the factory did it. Of course, we had all those old crappy patterns to work from. So because of that, and because of all the factory errors in the patterns, we revised these dies multiple times. And this project got into an incredible amount of time and money. But now we have patterns that are far superior to the factory stuff, and it fits perfect. I fixed all the factory mistakes, basically. So, it took a lot of time to get through. So we went through all this trouble and expense simply because I tried to do this the way that most upholstery shops would, and no matter how hard we tried and how much time we spent on it, you just can't make it look good. I mean, it just looks homemade. But if you look at this stuff, this does not look homemade. I mean, this is what you would get. I don't know. If you ever seen one of these Broughams at a car show, and then somebody's brought it to the local upholstery shop, it looks just like a homemade thing. Nothing fits right. All the stitching is uneven. It's a nightmare. And especially pieces like this, I mean, you see the, you know, something like that. Good luck trying to do that with a pair of scissors, you know, 'cause I tried. It's not possible. Anyway, so we spent a lot of time and money bringing this to fruition. And we even went as far as to make a special truckload of, I had to order a special order truckload of cardboard to get pieces big enough to do that, because most upholstery cardboard that you could buy from the upholstery supply isn't big enough to make that piece. So we actually had the cardboard made to our size. So we could do this. So you can imagine the truckload of cardboard I had to buy to make that happen. And then we even, you know, and then of course years and years of pattern work and what have you. So trial and error and so forth and so on. Then we went as far as making these metal eyelets. These things here, you know, there's companies that make stuff like this, and they have thousands of different styles, but they don't have this, not even close. And this is like part rivet and part, if you look at this piece, how it's installed, it gets installed through the fabric, and then we have a special tool that we built. It's sort of like a hollow tube rivet that you crimp it on. And what this does is it keeps, if you didn't have this, you'd have to use a big old hokey looking trim washer, which is what most people do. They don't want to spend the time, they don't want to spend the money to do this right, and so they just use a regular upholstery trim washer, which is not how it was from the factory. And the factory ones were made out of tin-plated steel, just thin tin-plated steel. And the finish went bad on them real fast. So I wanted to make them in stainless because I wanted this stuff to look good for decades when I was done. And I didn't think my customers would appreciate the fact that they'd have to throw away a very expensive trunk upholstery set because the finish went bad on these little eyelets. Because the factory, I guess they got away with it because all they were trying to do was get them out of the showrooms into people's garages. But now I'm dealing with show cars that people want to look good for a long time, and I can't see how you could get away with, well, it would be stupid because you can't get these things out. If you look at these things, I mean, if you try to take this thing out, you'll destroy this thing trying to get it out because it's riveted in there. So you can't, it's not like, oh, the finish went bad, we'll just, you know, we'll just get some new ones and put it in. It doesn't work like that. So these things, I made them out of polished stainless, and I had to do them in-house. I built a little special tool to form them with, and we all have to hand polish each piece. Time consuming as hell, but these things are going to outlive me, that's for sure. So this way it'll stay looking good, you know. So this little thing was a huge job all by itself. So we'd come too far to compromise on details like this, so we just, I mean, these things, what they do is prevent you from over-tightening the screw. So if you can imagine this big piece, you're trying to put this thing up on to the trunk lid. I mean, this is a strengthener. It strengthens the joint, you know, and then and it has a nice finished look to it when it's done too. It doesn't look like a big hokey trim washer. But without these, you know, the cardboard will pucker. So every time where the screws are, it'll go like this. It'll make little humps, you know. And you'll see on the ones that people try to do at the upholstery shop, that's what they look like. They got little waves in them in between the screws. You know, this lays perfectly flat because the screw can only get so tight until it bottoms on this metal thing. You know? So that's what that's all about. And yeah, you can cut corners, but if you want it to look right, you can't. So anyway. So the OEM parts just didn't have the longevity, so we went and did them in stainless, and it's a little crazy, I know, but that's that. So we also custom make all this fabric and stuff too, as you can probably tell. These are Brougham only colors, so we have to make short runs of special made fabric. With, you know, I mean, you can buy fabric like this, but it usually comes with it's the wrong color, and usually comes with this hokey foam glued on the backside and stuff. And what we have, you know, we have it made without the hokey foam and in proper colors for the Brougham. So this is exact. This is not just some close material that I get at the auto supply place. It's exact for 57. So anyway, well, you know, if you chose to do something like this with us, you know, you would, this kit sort of pays for itself in upholstery shop labor savings alone, because we charge 50 hours for this, and there's no way somebody could start with what's over here. I mean, you can't start with this and end up with that in 50 hours. It'd be four times that amount of time, at least, to start by the time you make all the patterns and try to figure it out. And so if you're dealing with a really high-end upholstery shop, your bill is going to be 4 times what I would charge you to do this. And so it really makes no sense to have somebody that doesn't specialize in this try to do this, because it's you know, very, very time consuming. And you know, with the detailed instructions, I mean, we have everything in little bags, like right here. All this stuff is all in little bags. Every screw's got a letter, a little number, and a corresponding legend. Every little screw, every little doodad, rivet, washer, doodad, little piece of padding, everything is explained. It's explained. It even gives you, every part is numbered. You'll notice each part is numbered, and every piece even tells you in what sequence to install it. Things like this that are, you know, that you see. This is the jack cover, and then you can tell. See how perfect it looks from the inside. You can tell it's not some homemade thing from, you know, upholstery material. You know, like an upholstery shop cardboard that you buy raw cardboard in an upholstery shop. This looks exactly like the factory piece. And when you open it up to display the jack, it looks perfect inside as well as outside. You know, and the stitching is perfectly straight. I mean, this is done to extreme detail, far superior to the factory stuff. You know, things like this where it curves around, you know, it's all kind of perforated so that when you fit it in the car, it makes that turn. You know. So, yeah. So, anyway, there's things like this. Even the factory ones didn't line up good, like the way we line this thing up. I've got this thing fitting perfect. That all these things line up flawlessly. I mean, if you look at the factory ones, they're pretty poorly done, actually. But these line up exact. When it's in the car, you can, the other two, this has to bow like this. It's made to go like this, and then it'll line up. You know, so, yeah, everything is done. A lot of this stuff wasn't right from the factory. It was close, but it wasn't. So we improved on it, and we just did what they were intending to do. You know, because their jack curtain didn't fit anywhere near as good as this. So even, you know, like I said, if you get an upholstery shop guy to do that, he's going to copy the factory one, and he's going to find out the hard way that you know, that there's a lot of factory mistakes. So, you know, and we can also sell this stuff to you for you do-it-yourselfers that want to, you know, do the raw cardboard. But you know, contrary to what many people think, there's no savings in bringing this to another shop. So if you could do this yourself, you can save the labor money. But if you're going to take all my die-cut parts and everything and bring it to another shop, they're going to charge you more, and it won't be anywhere near as good. So, you know, a large majority of restoration shops won't even buy the pre-cut cardboard stuff. They'll tell you that they can make. Oh yeah, we can do that. We can do that. You know, and their agreement. You know, and they'll charge you money to hand cut all this stuff, and it'll be absolute garbage compared to this, and because they want to keep the work in their shop. They don't want to buy the stuff to do it right. They want to charge you by the hour to do it half-assed. That's basically what goes on. So if you want it done right, we can help you. So thanks for your interest in our products, and hopefully we'll be able to help you at some point.